Welcome to Legend Makers, the podcast where education's true heroes take center stage.
Shine like a ray from the sun. There's something people look for but never can find.
Welcome to the Legend Maker podcast. This is episode 5 already. I'm blown away. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. So let me introduce you. Alethea E.C. Setzer. I'm going to read your awesome bio here. You are the gifted and talented sail instructor at Charles Pinckney Elementary. This is the first time I've actually had an opportunity to speak with you at any length, and you've been like part of our community for a while, so I'm really excited for this. Listen to this, 30 years of teaching experience across all grade levels. So K
I started
through.
when I was 12.
Wow. Did you? You've got a degree from Clemson University in elementary education with a minor in mathematics. You have 2 masters, gifted education from Converse College and educational leadership from the Citadel. You're currently pursuing your doctorate in leadership from the American College of Education with a focus on AI in education. Ooh, I want to talk about that. That sounds cool. You're a consultant and graduate course facilitator for PBS and SCETV since 2005. What is SCETV?
That's our local affiliate of PBS.
Your local affiliate you're in, and that's Charles Pinckney Elementary in South Carolina.
Correct. Well, the SCETV is in Columbia.
And in Columbia, but you're in the Charleston area?
Correct.
Excellent. Okay. And we just talked about the hurricanes. Hopefully you're doing all right. We're recording as Milton is making its way over to Florida. You recognized as the UB Tech Ambassador, Bosch Best Teacher, and Voya Unsung Hero. Man, you've got everything going on here. Top awards from Clemson University and the Citadel, Charleston County School District Gifted Teacher of the Year in 2021 and School Teacher of the Year in 2018. And I'm sure if you were to apply every year, you'd get it. And you're passionate about writing grants for innovative tools like 3D printers, robots, drones, for sure, VR headsets, and I'm sure AI now in your classroom. So welcome to the podcast, EC. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. It's great to see you too. I feel like I know you so well.
Here. Yeah, the Star Wars stuff I'm loving. Is this your classroom that we're seeing?
Yes, that is my classroom theme this year. I don't know how much of it you can see.
Star Wars?
It's kind of Star Wars world over that way.
Nice.
I
love it.
a geek through and through.
You are a geek through and through. Is that a functional R2-D2 behind you? Does he move around?
It is. It's actually, that one's not a robot, but the one over there, the Stormtrooper and the R2-D2 over there are robots.
Are they really? Awesome. You got your 3D printer? I got one here.
Yeah, I've got 5 3D printers.
5 3D printers. Amazing. So this is great. So tell me a little bit about your background. I've given you such you've got this great bio, but tell me a little bit about yourself as the person. We can read about the bios, but tell us a little who you are.
Thank you. So I guess I'm a geek through and through. I mean, my house has Star Wars stuff everywhere, just like my classroom. I get bored easily. And so I really like trying innovative ways to keep kids interested, to keep me interested as well. Or after 30 years, I wouldn't be doing this. When I'm not interested anymore, that's when I will stop, because it's just fascinating. There's so many new things coming out all the time. And when drones came out and I reached out to you, it was incredible, because I want these in my classroom. I don't have that much money. Can you help me make this work? And you helped me work that out and find other ways of funding. And I appreciate it so much. I don't have drones behind me because they're actually charging on the other side of my room. There. But that they are incredible. So I just like doing things that are different and interested. I'm a gifted and talented teacher, so I want them to go deeper and more complex into their thinking and problem solving. And I keep telling them, 20 years from now, Miss Setzer's not going to be standing beside you teaching you how to code this robot or how to fly this drone. You're going to have to figure out this new app on your own. So figure it out, teach somebody else, and then come back and teach me what you learned that I didn't know yet. So I guess I'm kind of a problem solving, let's figure it out together kind of teacher.
I heard a great quote the other day. I keep these quotes on my notes app. I have a whole list of them, and I keep them. It grows and grows and grows. There's hundreds of them. And one of them is, if you want to learn something, try to teach it.
Absolutely. That's the best way to learn something.
So great, isn't it? Because you ever get in one of those situations where you're like, I don't know how to do this, and you try to start explaining it to somebody, like what you're struggling with, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I just figured it out. It's like,
right.
Oh yeah, We're trying to
Right.
teach you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or you can go onto an AI and say, explain this to me like I'm a fifth grader.
That
And
is
then I can turn around and teach it because now I get it, you know?
very, very cool. Yeah, the AI thing is pretty amazing, and we'll dive into that. So here's how we work this thing. I've got like three core questions, and I hope that those turn into longer discussions and not just like single answers. We really, the goal of this is for your peers, particularly those kind of entering into the space or thinking about it, or maybe feeling even a little burned out by it. Inspiration, right? So we want to hear from the greats, people that are really making a difference, people that still love what they're doing. Certainly, by the looks of your classroom, it seems like the classroom I would have loved to be in. So I've got kind of three core questions here. Let's start with the first one. So I only recently entered into this kind of world of education, right? I worked in the life sciences space for many, many years and fell into education later in life. And I'm still not what you would call like a teacher, right? I work with a lot of you. I get to train a lot of you, and I get to go to conferences and run workshops with a lot of you. And I have met hundreds and hundreds of teachers, and I cringe at the child that I was and the student that I was when I was like 13, 14 years old. I was a disaster. I was that kid you didn't want in your classroom. And
You're the
so
kid I get in my class.
yeah. And I'm like,
I love those
why
kids.
would you ever do this? I look at like parents and I'm like, why in the world? It really, truthfully, all kidding aside, I go, who in their right mind wants to do this? And so my question is, what's your why? Like, why do you do this? What got you into it?
For those kids that everybody else wants to push aside that are going to become your great entrepreneurs, your great salesmen, your amazing thinkers, right? They're not usually your A plus kids. They're usually the ones who are a little out of the box, and they're the outliers that you kind of feel like don't make it in the worksheet and textbook kind of world, right?
Right.
My fifth grade teacher, Mr. Walker, was the most amazing human. We raced sailboats in his classroom. He had a grandma on a motorcycle that taught us fractions. And that was my first experience with a teacher who didn't just make us sit and get. And I was
Yeah.
in awe of him. And I thought, and this is amazing. And he became my basketball coach and my track coach. And so I got to hang out with him for several years because I grew up in a very small town in East Tennessee called Rogersville, where actually the National Teacher of the Year is from right now, which is
Mm,
incredible. And we
cool.
had a K-8 school, and I went there fourth through eighth grade. So I got to be around Mr. Walker for several years, and he just taught me how to teach differently and how to make kids curious. And I want these kids to go home and I want them to search online and find out more and get excited about a topic and learn how drones are used every day. I'm that person that we were at a robotics competition actually for my son in Greenville, and we got on the elevator to a hotel, and a guy that got on with us had a giant box, and I said, "Hey, excuse me, but I hate to be weird, but is that a drone?" And he said, "Yes, it is." I said, "Oh my gosh, tell me all about your drone." And he looked at me funny, and I said, "I'm a teacher. I use drones in my classroom. I would love to hear more about the real world." He said, "Oh, well, I'd love to tell you." And he was working with a factory that had had issues with their gas and their leaks, and they couldn't send humans in yet. So they were sending in drones to check and make sure all the levels were okay for humans. So I'm that person that feels like I'm constantly learning. I want to learn
Mhm.
new things. I want to be curious about the world. And I want my kids to be curious and excited about the world. And if I'm just having them sit and get, they're not going to get excited about
I
learning.
love that. Sit and get. I love it. Whoa. So you've said a lot there. Hey, what's this grandma on a motorcycle? What
Oh
the
my
heck is
gosh, he
that?
was so amazing. He
I
taught
have to
us
know.
fractions.
I
I
got
don't
my notes.
remember
I got
how.
Mr. Walker, and then I got grandma on a motorcycle.
He's
I got
amazing. He's
about the
amazing. He was
grandma
the
on
prince. He
a
became the
motorcycle.
principal of the school. He's now retired and playing golf, but
Okay, cool. Good for
incredible
Mr.
guy.
Walker. He made an impact. So he impacted you. But what was the grandma on a motorcycle?
She taught us fractions. It was a show it was a video he showed us,
Ah,
back when we had VCRs.
yeah.
He showed us videos, and actually I want to say that's the first time anyone ever showed us any video clips in the classroom.
Huh.
It's 19 70 something, probably 79, 80. And
Yeah.
so we didn't really have a lot of that technology back then. So to us, the coolest thing was getting to see a TV clip in school, you know.
In school
And grandma
of a
rode on her motorcycle and taught us, you know, this is a half and this is a whole. I don't really remember the specifics, but I'm pretty good at fractions.
That's so cool. So grandma on a motorcycle. I don't remember that. I might have been a little older. Was it like a PBS kind of a thing
I
or
think it must have been.
interesting? And then what was the sailboat thing? What did you guys, where were you racing sailboats?
So
Out
he built, oh, inside his classroom, he built a giant
a full
pool.
sailboat.
Yeah, he built a pool and put a bunch of tables together,
Mm,
and we made them out of balsa wood,
okay.
and we raced them, and we talked about aerodynamics and buoyancy and
Wow.
all of those great things, and it just really brought science to life for me.
And so that's what sparked your interest in this, that early childhood experience of seeing an awesome teacher that had an impact on you.
Yeah,
And then in turn, you said, I want to be that awesome teacher. Is that an accurate summation?
100%.
That's so cool. So see, teachers, you can have an effect. I mean, I always think about, I have a fifth grade teacher that I actually remember quite well. I know you've seen our book, The Rise of the Legends, and Jake, the author, and I went to the same fifth grade classroom together in 1970, like seven. And this guy, I couldn't tell you third, fourth, sixth, seventh. I couldn't tell you those teachers, but I could tell you that fifth grade teacher, Mr. Meme, Mehme, something like that. And the funny thing is that when Jake reached back out to me, we were both in that class together, and we both have the same cringy picture with the hair and the things and the and I have like this big bowl head or
1980s,
something,
yeah.
and it was
Had
hysterical.
big
Like
hair.
19, I had this crazy
It's
like
Tennessee big hair.
curled under. My mom must have done something with a blow. It was horrifying. It looked like a helmet. And but we both have that same picture, and that teacher we remember quite well. And so it was just funny with thinking about those impacts that those teachers have on you. I remember that guy. Here we are 40 something odd years later, 45 years later. And I remember respecting him, right? He was kind of tough on us. I remember
Right.
he would make us, we got caught chewing gum. We'd have to put it on the tip of our
Oh,
nose and
I
walk around the whole day with gum on our nose, right? So we would just like stretch it out and chew it.
Gross. That's
So we were
awesome.
like these big long strings of like gum chewing, but he was great. So that's so cool. So that is your why, and that remains today. You want to have that same kind of effect, and obviously you like to make learning fun. We can see
Right.
it behind you. For those of you that are listening and not watching, you can go to the YouTube and you can see her whole classroom setup. EC's setup is really, really cool. I like all your R2D2s. Okay, so very nice. Now, here's where we get to my second question. So if I'm on the fence, I'm somebody and I'm thinking about getting into the profession, I'm just starting out. What would you tell me?
I would tell you try it. Give it a shot. You don't have to know everything, and that is okay. And there are funding sources out there, so that's not an excuse. There's always Donors Choose, which I have gotten a ton of things for my classroom through Donors Choose. Start with one drone. You can buy one drone and start. And if you just say the word drone in your classroom, their eyes light up like you would have. I just looked around my room like I expected my kids to be sitting there going, "Whoa, we get to use drones today." The
Drones, yeah.
excitement is off the chains, and it's a life skill that is a viable profession now.
Yeah.
So the cool thing for me about this program is that I learned so much, like about dragon eggs and just that you can use drones in so many situations that I had no idea. So we've turned a lot of it into learning how to flip a drone. Like we did
Yep.
candy at Valentine's Day, and they had to flip conversation hearts into a bucket and see which
Oh,
team
cool.
could flip the most and all of that. And it's not scary. You don't have to get any big certifications. You're not running a huge program. You have a small drone, and
Yeah.
the kids can figure out what you can't figure out. I promise.
That's cool. And if we step back even away from drones, what if I'm just generally thinking about entering into the teaching profession? like what advice, or I'm in, or I'm early in, and I'm nervous, right? Or I'm on the fence about it because I hear maybe horror stories. Like, what just general advice, resources, things that you would say, because you've got, you're tenured, 30 years of teaching experience. You've seen a few things. What is that early experience, and what could the listeners today that are kind of thinking about it, what would you tell them beyond the drones and all the techie stuff, like just general advice, life
Yeah, I'd
advice?
say reach out to a teacher that you know and trust if you
Mm-hmm.
still can contact them. I mean, with today's social media, there's a way to find them for sure. You can always reach out to the school. I've had kids find me through old schools that they reach out in Greenville and find me in Charleston. Um, Talk to them, be very honest. I actually had a group of teachers in high school sit me down and say, you don't want to be a teacher. You need to go be
Really?
a lawyer or something else. And I said, no, this is really what I want to do. So I would say
Mm,
talk to somebody you know and trust first that's been there, done that. See if you can go observe some classrooms. Like go find a teacher that's willing to have you in their
mm,
room and come see what it's really like. It is
mhm.
not an easy job. It is a fun job. It is not easy. There are days where you are most days when you're exhausted. Or last night, finally at 10 o'clock, I said, I'm done. I'm not planning anymore for tomorrow. They're going to get what I've got so far.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. I don't want you to think that, but it is fun and it is rewarding and
Hmm.
hopefully making a difference in a kid's life, right? And hopefully sending them on a path. We've spent a lot of time using the program Thrively and learning about our strengths and trying to build on our strengths. They actually today they all matched up their strengths and went, oh wow, I didn't know these were your strengths too. Let's talk about this. And then we're going to have roundtable
Mm.
discussions this afternoon about their strengths. And we 3D printed little shields that are their different strengths. So I would say get into a classroom with somebody you know and trust, check it out, see if it's what you want to do.
Mm.
Substitute teaching is kind of an interesting thing to try, but it's not the real deal, right? You're walking in with somebody else's plan. So if you can go
Right.
into a classroom and observe, you're much better off,
So
I
kind
think.
of find that mentor in entrepreneurship. They say,
Or come to
find the
Charleston. You
people
can
that
come to
have done
mine.
it. Yeah, there you go. Hey, go visit EC in her
Everybody
classroom. You
loves
can,
Charleston.
is
Don't
that an
come this
open
week because there's
invite?
a storm.
Yeah, don't come this week, but wait till the storms cool out. That's an open invite. So find the mentors. I mean, that's what I always hear in entrepreneurship is find the people that have walked the walk, that have treaded, that have beat the path, and you can learn from them, right? So you can watch, explore, see if it's what you want to do. And even if you're just kind of curious, you could enter into somebody's classroom and just see if this would, do you see yourself there?
Right.
Right. And then
Even
if you say
volunteering at
yes,
your own kid's classroom is a start as well.
that's a great idea. Yeah. So volunteer with your own kids' classrooms. So excellent. That's good advice. Any resources do you think somebody should go for, like books, or is there any websites, or
My
um
go-to is always Harry Wong's First Days of School.
is that
It
the book? Harry
that is the
Wong's
book.
First Days?
That
We're
was the
gonna
I was
link that in
given
the
that
show
book
notes.
by Anderson County Schools my very first year teaching at Rim Primary School, and I go back and I reread it every year before the first day of school.
And say it again. It's Harry
Harry
Wong,
Wong, The First Days of School.
The
It's
First
actually
Days
by
of
him and
School.
his wife, I believe now. They've edited it and revised it, and it used to come with a DVD. Doesn't come with a
DVD,
DVD.
huh? Excellent. So maybe we'll still get the DVD. But what
Right.
we'll do is we'll link to that in the show notes
Oh,
so that
excellent.
anybody listening or watching, just go click below, and you'll be able to find the link for that and get that book. I think that's great. I love them. I'm an avid reader. We talk about lifelong learning. I listen to this podcast called Founders, great podcast. And all he does is read biographies about successful entrepreneurs, and then he breaks them down. And
Oh,
there's like 365 episodes, and we'll just learn about,
wow.
and you
Okay, I'm writing
see
that
what's
one down.
cool when you start listening. It's called Founders.
Okay.
And when you start to listen over time, you see these commonalities, these principles, these threads from, like, today I was listening to him talk about Napoleon, and you'll hear the same thing in Churchill, and you'll hear the same thing in Jobs, and you hear the same thing in Bezos, and you'll hear the same thing in Estee Lauder. And it was like the idea was take the offensive, right? Like be very thoughtful in your decision making process, but once you've decided to go, you go 100%. You do not let go, and you go in. And that's a principle, and that's common across, like, all of those, and you see these commonalities, these threads. So I think that's a great podcast. Hopefully this one will become something that teachers can listen to and find. As I hear, I'm only into episode 5 here, but as I'm even in those 5 episodes, I'm finding the threads. Take it, risk, impact, right? Find mentors, walk the path, see the others that have walked the path. This is great stuff. And that's the goal of this
And
podcast.
write the grants.
Write the grants or let AI write it or help you
Right?
out writing it.
I mean, if you're a teacher, you can write a complete sentence, you can write a good paragraph. A lot of
Yeah.
these grants go unclaimed because no one asks for them, right? No one writes the
Wow.
grant for it. So write the grant, get what you want.
Really?
Go
So go
go
after
for
the
the sky.
grants.
Absolutely.
What are some great ones for you? 21st century, things like that?
Yeah, well, the Voya one was incredible. I did some stop motion animation with second grade when I taught second grade, and I wrote the Voya one to get green screens and cameras
Wow.
and clay and all that was amazing one. The Voya Unsung Heroes.
So
Um,
via VOYA, Unsung
VOYA,
Hero,
it's the
that's a
bank,
grant.
right? Voya Unsung Heroes grant.
Hmm.
There's also the Bosch, BOSCH, the company Bosch, Best Teachers Grant. That one actually funded most of my drones. And there's an
Cool.
AIAA one, I'm going to get this wrong, American International Aeronautics Association, I believe.
Uh-huh.
They funded my drones.
For your drones.
So,
Yeah.
really, and like you said, go into AI. I want to write a grant for da da da. When I presented at the National Gifted Conference last year and presented on drones, and I was nervous. I was, you heard from me. You gave me stickers and all kinds of fun stuff to
Yeah.
hand out, and people couldn't get enough of it. I was nervous
Yeah.
that I was just hoping for one person to show up, and the room was packed. It
Packed.
was slam packed full of educators that just wanted to learn how to do something different and
Yeah.
take a risk, right? Try a small step first. Get your one drone, get your one robot, try your one 3D printer, see how it goes. It's going to be frustrating. My 3D printers were giving me a hard time last week, but if you ask for help, you get it. The guy from the district came and we're printing again. So
Yeah, that's good. Those 3D
or
printers.
I've always told people call you, if they're stuck with drones or worried about something,
Yeah, for sure.
your customer service
Absolutely.
is amazing.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it. That's great. So, all right. All right, I love this one because if you know me, you know that I am an optimist, right? So I see the world through rose-colored glasses, and the glass is always half full. Sometimes to a fault. But I think that's what gives me the ability to say, let's go do this. We can do it, right? I've kind of got that can-do attitude. Um, so it's easy to get pulled into kind of the negativity today. There's a lot of that going on. We're in a political, environment right now with an election coming up, and people would have you believe that it's us against them. And when I think there's a bell curve happening here that gets largely unrecognized, and most of us kind of live in that, the bell curve, and the amplification is on the ends, right? So, but what are you excited about in education? What are you most optimistic about? So when you think about forward, obviously you're not cutting rope and running, you're sticking in. And so what excites you about it? Because I think it could be very easy to fall into that negativity. And so I always like to hear from people that are looking at the positive side of things and thinking forward and what's exciting.
I think the technology, I told my kids yesterday, I said, the jobs you're going to have when you're my age haven't been invented yet. And I know we've heard that before, but these kids, these were fourth graders and their mouths dropped open. They said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "See this thing on my hand? See this thing? And, see this thing? We didn't have those when I was in fourth
Yeah.
and fifth grade. These didn't exist." I said, "Look around the room. Most of the stuff in my room right now, we didn't have." And they just couldn't believe that. It kind of blew their mind. And then I went back to when I first met my husband. He designed carpet that went into GMC trucks and Suburbans. I said, "Have you ever met anyone that designs the carpet that goes in a car?" And they all went, "No." I said, "I hadn't either. I'd never thought about the person that does that." There's so many jobs out there. There's so many things that are on the horizon that you
Mhm.
don't know about yet, that the things you need to learn now are the problem solving and the collaboration and how to critically think about things. So the things that I'm most excited about are I think post COVID, doing things like Zoom, I have access to so much more knowledge now. Yes, COVID was tough. Yes, it was hard on a lot of us. Those kids are my fifth graders now, the ones that were in
Yeah,
kindergarten during COVID. But wow, we have Zoom. I can talk to you from afar.
it's
That is
amazing.
amazing. Podcasts have taken off. We can get so much more knowledge. AI is changing every single day. It makes me nervous that I want to do my dissertation on it when it changes every week, every month, right? And so I can't even get my seminal literature yet because it's still coming. But I think there's so many new opportunities for kids. We're realizing that they have to have this critical thinking and collaboration. And things like we're getting ready to do this really cool problem solving Olympiad next week, which is a competition where kids go on Zoom with other kids and they are given a problem. They have to work in groups and solve that problem. And honestly, that's all I know about it. But I got a pile of
Huh,
t-shirts back here they sent me for free because these kids are doing this competition next week.
that's cool. So they're going to go on Zoom with kids from different districts around the country or around the
Yeah,
world.
I think around the world, but I
Wow.
haven't seen the list yet of the
Oh, that
participating
sounds cool. And
groups.
what is that called?
It's called the Problem Solving Olympiad. It's by Next Level, NXTLVL. And that tells
Yeah.
you how old I am because I kept thinking, why is it these crazy letters? Why do I have to remember? And then one day I looked at it, I stood back and went, oh, it's Next Level, NXTLVL. The kids knew it
Yeah.
right away.
I know, right? It's like reading through. They took out all the vowels.
Right. Why'd they do that? So they've got
Where are
that.
the vowels? They're gone.
Right. Why do we need vowels? And then I've got a group doing Girls Who Code.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I kind of balked against that because I was a chess coach for 14 years and I always had a problem with people saying, well, this one's just for girls or this one's just for boys.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
like to be it inclusive, but this Girls Who Code, these people really have it together and
That's cool.
it's free. If you're looking for somewhere easy to start, Girls Who Code. And I don't think they deny membership to boys. But I have
Right.
one class that happens to be all girls. So we are doing it in that class.
Oh,
They're sending
nice.
us free t-shirts, free notebooks, free stickers. I
Wow.
get an Amazon wish list to buy them snacks. It's incredible. So if anyone's saying they're not doing
That's
these
great.
things because of money, there's two right there. The Next Level Problem Solving Olympiad, Girls Who Code, code.org is another one.
Yep.
So there's so many exciting extracurricular activities for the kids out
So
there, and
many,
that
right?
seems to be growing by leaps and bounds since COVID, since now we've all got connectivity. And I think that's what's most exciting to me is
That's
that
cool.
everybody's got it at their fingertips now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I find that the fact that you and I can be sitting here talking to each other just like this, and 5 years ago, which is amazing, is it almost 5 years, 4 years?
Right.
Is I never thought of doing like video. Now, if somebody says let's have a regular phone call, I'm like, what? Huh?
You
Like, why
talk,
would
no
we
voice,
do?
no
Why
face.
would we do that? Right? Why? I need to see you to talk
That's
to you.
hilarious.
And it's weird, right? So, but it's become standard in the norm, and my business is largely remote.
Right.
There's few of us that are in my region. I've got people in your area. I've got people in Florida. I've got some people in California, and we live on Zoom. Sometimes too much Zoom. Sometimes at the end of the day, I'm like, I need to like see the sky and the air and get outside and walk and
And that is
get
important. I'm definitely
right.
not saying anything against that. That's nature's important.
It sure is. It sure is. This is great. Well, I know you've got a class to get to. Anything that you want to uh, plug or promote? I mean, I know you've given some great resources here. I've got the Harry Wong book, The First Days of School, Girls Who Code, very familiar with them. I'm definitely checking out this Next Level NXT Olympiad. Um, You've got some great stuff here, some grants. You've got the Voya Unsung Heroes grant, the Bosch Best Teacher grant. You've got the AIAA grant, which is like an aviation grant that could be used for drones. Uh, Donors Choose. I mean, you have been a cornucopia of great advice. Did I use that right? I think I did.
That's impressive.
Does that give a
That was
nice
good. That
visual
was
of
good.
all these resources spilling out? Maybe that's a good
Yeah.
like fall harvesty kind of feel. I'm up here in the
Yeah,
Northeast. It's feeling super fall-like up here.
there you go.
Anything else you want to tell anybody? Any last parting words of advice or reflection or anything like that?
I guess I would say if you're a teacher and you're feeling like you're at the end of your rope, which a lot of us get there, then try something new.
Mm,
Try one drone, try one new website, and just see where that takes you. See if that excites you or gets that spark lit in you again. Because I think once you see that spark lit in your kids and they get super excited, like I said, all you have to do is say the word drone and they're jumping out of their seats. I think that will motivate you and get you excited about the job that you chose.
Excellent. Well, listen, thank you so much. It's early in the morning today. We're going to get you to class so that everybody can experience the awesomeness that is your classroom. People can find you where? Where are you most active? LinkedIn, Twitter, Insta, Facebook. Where do you? And we'll link to all of those and above. You'll
I
send me
would
that
say
information.
LinkedIn right now. It used
Mhm.
to be Twitter. I've kind of gotten away
Pull back.
from the Twitterverse just a bit, like most people have.
Yep.
I need to be more active on social. But if you reach out to me over at EC Setzer on Facebook, Instagram, or
Cool.
LinkedIn, I will get back to you and I'll start posting more
Awesome.
stuff.
Follow, post your classroom. It's great. More drone stuff. Are
Thank you
you allowed
so
to show
much.
the kids? Are you allowed to show them, or do you have to have a waiver to do that?
To show, oh, I don't, my kids aren't in the room right now.
When you do your programs, like if you
Oh,
take video of them, or you
oh,
look at your
yes,
classroom.
yes,
Very
yes.
cool.
I can
You
show.
should
Is that what you wanted to
post
see?
up some. Yeah, look at this. This is
I'm kind
great.
of
You should
plugged in here. Hold on.
post up some drone stuff too when the kids are taking off. There's nothing. I've been doing this for 5, 6 years now. Look at that classroom. What an
It's a
awesome
little
place. Look,
crazy.
Batman. You have the coolest classroom. Now, wait, is that like a giant light bright
Oh,
back
now
there?
that is something you would love. Okay, let me find
Yeah,
my
is that
phone.
big pegs that light up? Is that what
It's
that is? Like a
yeah, it's
massive light
LED
bright?
lights and the kids can program them. We're still figuring it out, but
Wow.
you can change the scenery. Let me see if I can get to it.
That is so cool.
And the
What
kids
we
love it.
need to
I
do
actually
for
saw it on another teacher's page. It's not connecting at the second, but it's just
this is
Bluetooth.
cool.
So I don't have to
Uh-huh.
go through the school network because a lot of these things, they want you to school network.
That's
But I
right.
needed a planet between my spaceship and the Death Star. And and I could get a planet, but I can put anything. I can put a Pac-Man up there. I can put a
That is
tic-tac-toe
so
board.
cool.
It's
And
super
is that
cool.
is it
Sunset.
like look at this. This is
Isn't
great.
that
So for
fun?
those of
You
you
need one of
listening,
these for your office, I think.
I need right back
Christmas
here instead of
tree.
this boring whiteboard. I need to get one of those.
Oh,
Look at
isn't
your
this
Christmas
fun?
tree.
It's Govee, Govee
Oh, it's
lights.
Govee. It's Govee lights. I've got Govee lights on my deck and in my
Yes,
house. They're really
yes, and you
cool.
can actually connect several of them together. But there
So
is a function where the kids can draw their own, called it's finger sketch. I am not very good at it. Let's see if I can
this
get it
is
to
cool.
draw
So
something.
this is just Govee lights, just standard Govee light. This is so neat.
Yeah.
Oh my
And you can
gosh.
connect them together if you get more, if you're a rich teacher and you can get like a whole panel, a whole wall of them.
Those rich teachers or get those grants, right? This I
Right,
can't
Morgan? Well,
believe
this
there's
was grant money.
then you can well the kids can actually can make
They can.
their own
And
scene,
we
right?
earn a Super Sale Fun Day. Our program is called Sale for Gifted and Talented here.
Uh-huh.
And they earn once a quarter a Super Sale Fun Day. So when they
Wow.
earn Super Sale Fun Day, they're going to program the lights and
It's
just
amazing.
and did teach me how to program the lights.
Very, very cool. So you have to watch the YouTube version of this. If you're listening to audio, go jump over to the Drone Legends YouTube channel and check this thing out. How big is that thing? It's
I think
what,
it's
like
six by
5 foot,
eight.
6 by 8. Pretty
And you
cool.
can
Is it
get smaller
cloth?
ones and you can get less expensive ones. There's one for about $98 on Amazon if you just type in curtain lights or
Curtain light. I was
programmable
gonna say,
curtain
is
lights.
that like a curtain? Is it hanging? Is it
It
like
is.
fabric?
It's tiny strips of lights. Let me show you.
Oh,
I don't know how much time you
I
have.
love that, by the way.
Isn't that
Is that a
crazy?
Millennium Falcon view I'm seeing, or is that just a general space station view I'm
This
seeing?
is a general space station.
Oh, that's cool. That's Earth. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
because
Cool.
I thought the Death Star was scary enough.
The Death Star's cool with those walkers. Look
I
at
gotta
those
be
things.
careful. Yeah, I gotta be
Mhm.
careful not to put things that are too scary. And there's my, may the force be with
The
you.
Force. And what grade level are you teaching in this class?
This is fourth and fifth grade gifted.
Fourth and fifth grade gifted.
Yeah, they
What a
come to me
classroom.
once a week for four
What an
hours.
amazing classroom.
So it's kind of exciting, but
This is
yeah.
awesome. Thank you so
Well,
much for
thank you.
sharing.
You
This
can
is
come visit
cool.
me anytime.
I think I'm gonna have to get down there and check out your classroom. I'll come down and we'll do a ooh, hey, this is what we could do. So they've watched me on the videos, right?
Yes.
So when I pop in the classroom, I'm like a little celeb.
Yeah.
My wife loves when I say that. She's like, no, you're not.
You're totally a celeb.
My wife's like, what are you famous now? I'm like, yeah, no, just to like
You
little
are.
fourth graders.
To
It's
fourth
great.
grade.
Yeah, they love me.
And teachers. And teachers.
And some
We love
teachers.
you.
But I would love to come down and see your classroom. Let's make that happen. I think that'd be a lot of
Yeah, I
fun.
would love that. Well, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing half of this stuff. I have to say that that day I talked to you, I think I had like reached out on your website and
Yeah.
you called me like 5 minutes later and I was hemming and hawing. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can make it work. And your enthusiasm and your excitement got me so hooked. I
Huh.
and I was kind of at a point in my career where I was like, yeah, I'm not sure if I want to keep doing this. And then you introduced me to drones and it was like, okay, that's why I'm into this, right? I just needed that.
Wow.
I needed you, my spark relit, and you did that for me. So I
Wow.
appreciate it.
Thank you. That's super awesome to know that. I'm humbled. That's amazing. Very, very cool. I'm coming down. So I'm going to come down and see you. I'm going to come down, wait till those hurricanes, you buckle down and get those things. Hopefully they stay clear of you. And then, yeah, I want to come down and meet your students.
That'd be
Let's make it
amazing.
happen.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you
Okay,
so
great.
much. Everybody,
Thank you.
UC Setzer, amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much for the tour
you.
in your classroom, too. It's good to see you.
Show